Bullitt is a 1968 American neo-noir action thriller film directed by Peter Yates and produced by Philip D'Antoni. The plot follows Detective Frank Bullitt as he unravels a conspiracy after a witness in his protection is murdered. Plot: on a Friday night in Chicago, mobster Johnny Ross, played by Pat Ranella, briefly meets his brother, Pete, played by Victor Tabak, after fleeing the outfit. The next morning, San Francisco Police Department Detective Lieutenant Frank Bullitt, played by Steve McQueen, and his team, Del Getty, played by Don Gordon, and Stanton, played by Carl Reindl, are tasked by Walter Chalmers, played by Robert Vaughn, with guarding Ross over the weekend until he can be presented as a witness to a Senate subcommittee hearing on organized crime Monday morning. The detectives are told he is in a cheap hotel on the Embarcadero. At 1 a.m. Sunday, while Stanton is phoning Bullitt to say Chalmers and a friend want to come up, Ross unchains the room door. Two hitmen burst in, shooting Stanton and Ross. Chalmers holds Bullitt responsible. Ross dies from his wounds, but Bullitt conceals the death to keep the investigation open, sending the body to the morgue as a John Doe. An informant says that Ross was in town because he stole millions of dollars from the Chicago outfit. Bullitt also finds out that he made a long-distance phone call to a hotel in San Mateo. While driving his Ford Mustang, Bullitt is followed by a Dodge Charger driven by the two hitmen. An extended chase ensues through the streets of San Francisco to Brisbane. Eventually, the Charger crashes into a gas station, killing its occupants in a fiery explosion. Bullitt and Del Getty are confronted by their superior, Captain Sam Bennett, played by Simon Oakland, as well as Chalmers, who is assisted by SFPD Captain Baker. After being served a writ of habeas corpus, Bullitt reveals that Ross has died. Bennett ignores the writ as it's Sunday and lets Bullitt investigate the lead of the long-distance phone call to San Mateo. With no car, Bullitt gets a ride from his girlfriend, Kathy, played by Jacqueline Bisset. At the hotel, he finds the woman who was phoned garroted in her room. Kathy follows the police to the crime scene and is horrified. While examining the victim's luggage, Bullitt and Del Getty discover a travel brochure for Rome, as well as traveler's checks made out to an Albert and Dorothy Rennick. Bullitt requests their passport applications from Chicago. It turns out Chalmers sent Bullitt to guard a doppelganger, Albert Rennick, played by Felice Orlandi, a used car salesman from Chicago, while his wife Dorothy was staying in San Mateo. Bullitt realizes that Ross was playing the politically ambitious Chalmers by using Rennick as a decoy so he could slip out of the country Sunday night. Del Getty and Bullitt watch the Rome-bound passengers at San Francisco International Airport. However, the real Ross has switched to an earlier London flight. Bullitt boards the plane after it is ordered to return to the terminal, but the mobster escapes. In the passenger terminal, Ross kills a deputy sheriff before being shot dead by Bullitt. A silent Chalmers leaves after viewing the scene. Monday morning, Bullitt arrives home to find Kathy asleep in his bed, having chosen to stay. About the film. Bullitt film was directed by Peter Yates and written by Alan R. Trustman and Harry Kleiner. The film based on the 1963 novel Mute Witness by Robert L. Fish. The casting of Bullitt includes Steve McQueen, Robert Vaughn, Jacqueline Bisset, Don Gordon, Robert Duvall, Simon Oakland, and Norman Fell. The filming of Bullitt took place on location in San Francisco, showcasing iconic car chase scenes on its hilly streets. The production emphasized realism, especially during the thrilling action sequences. The music and soundtrack of Bullitt were composed by Lalo Schifrin. featuring a jazz-infused score that perfectly complements the film's gritty atmosphere and suspenseful moments. Bullitt was released on October 17, 1968. The film had a production budget of approximately $5.5 million and went on to gross over $42 million at the box office, making it a commercial success. Critical reception for Bullitt was positive, particularly praising Steve McQueen's cool performance and the groundbreaking car chase sequences. The film's realistic portrayal of police work and its stylish direction by Peter Yates also received acclaim. The legacy of Bullitt lies in its influence on the action genre, particularly in how it revolutionized car chase sequences in cinema. The film's iconic Mustang chase scene is often cited as one of the greatest in film history. 10 interesting facts about Bullitt movie. 1. The film's iconic car chase scene through the streets of San Francisco is considered a benchmark in cinematic history for its realism and intensity. 2. Although Steve McQueen was credited with the driving during the chase sequence, it was actually shared by McQueen and stunt driver Bud Eakins. 3. The distinctive sound of the Ford Mustang's exhaust was created by sound editor Bud Grensbach, using recordings of a Shelby GT 350. 4. The film's editing by Frank P. Keller won the Academy Award for Best Film Editing, particularly notable for the gripping car chase sequence. 5. Bullitt is credited with influencing the style of subsequent crime and action films, particularly in its gritty, character-driven approach. 6. 2 Mustangs and 2 Dodge Chargers were used for the famous chase scene. Both Mustangs were owned by the Ford Motor Company and part of a promotional loan agreement with Warner Brothers. 7. Steve McQueen based his character on San Francisco homicide inspector Dave Toschi, made famous for his work on the Zodiac killings. 8. Frank Bullitt's car is a 1968 Ford Mustang 390 GT 2+2 Fastback. The bad guys drive a 1968 Dodge Charger 440 Magnum. 9. When McQueen is driving, the rear view mirror is down, reflecting his face. When stunt driver Eakins is driving, the rear view mirror so his face is hidden. 10. Considered a precursor to the modern police procedural genre, Bullitt emphasized realistic police work and investigative techniques.
Considerable hemorrhage in these deep tissues, and a number of surgical sutures are present about this area. There are entrances into the sinuses, and several pellets are found located within this area. There are also multiple lacerations and multiple gunshot entrance wounds about the left side of the neck, and similar wounds are found on the left upper thorax.